We hear about high performance and just exactly what it takes to be at your very best as an athlete. We have taken it to a whole new level here on The Fan, and this year we've got an NRL dietitian here from the Storm. Georgia Walker, welcome to The Fan.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
It is so insightful for us to understand what it takes to be a professional, to be at your very best each and every week as an 80-minute NRL player. You play a really big part in that here at the Storm. Tell us how much value they place on the players' diet here.
Yeah, so Storm, they place a lot of value in it. They're really trying to grow nutrition as a topic sort of within the club, right from our pathways right up to the NRL. So, they brought me on full-time this season, which sort of allows that a bit more. I think it just shows how much value they do put on that.
Yeah. How do the players feel about it? Are they, there's some that love it, some that are a bit like, oh, leave me alone, let me eat what I want to eat?
Yeah,
or are we all on board now?
Depending what day it is, but no, they are really good with it. I think there's so much nutrition information out there and a lot of misinformation as well, so it can be really confusing for players. So I think to have someone on board as a contact to sort of go to now, myself, is really good, and they see the value in that. I think they are on board now. Given what day it is, but
Okay. So tell us how detailed it gets. Like we're all at home, trying to be good and eat well on weekdays and have splurge days on the weekend, but for an elite athlete, NRL player or development player as well, how detailed do you give them in terms of diet?
Yeah, so it sort of depends on the individual. So for some players they will work better off telling them exactly what to have at what timing and in how much, whereas others it might be sort of getting it written down from them in like a food diary and just giving them one or two things to work on at a time. It is something that, again, like the core nutrition principles stay the same across the board. But we just sort of tailor that to
no-nos list.
So I'm someone that I do believe that food should be enjoyed, but definitely in moderation. And so, as you mentioned, they're elite athletes and they're playing at the top level of their sport. So it is sort of up to them to do the right thing most of the time, and they'll sort of reap the benefits from that. However, there are certain things that they should still be able to enjoy, because there are foods there to enjoy as well.
So are they allowed chocolate every day, or is it only once a week? What are we talking here?
So it's not too strict with, the number of days across the week or when it is, but again, there's certain time periods that we have sort of after a training session or a game that's really important for a player's recovery. So I always like to say to tick off your recovery first. So often there's things around like ice baths and stretching and foam rolling and that sort of thing, but nutrition's really important, particularly in that first sort of half an hour to an hour after. So that's where they do need to be having something that's good versus a cheat meal or something that is, maybe not so great for their recovery. But outside of that, when it is outside of a game time and at the back end of their week, that might be when they choose to have something that isn't beneficial to performance. Okay,
well, I think you'll like our segment this season on The Fan. We are asking players for their cheat meal, and a lot of them say it does come after game day when they've, maybe shed a few calories on the field, but some of their orders are crazy. McDonald's, KFC, because clearly they work so hard day to day to try and be good that they want to order everything they possibly can. One cheat meal a week, if they have one. It's pretty crazy what they want to eat.
So I guess that's where, and where my role comes into this as well, sort of overseeing what's provided to players post-match. Because that is maybe the time that it sneaks in there. So if we can provide something that is beneficial to their recovery, then we sort of do tick that box and encourage them to have that meal post-game at the grounds. Versus if they're sort of left to their own devices, then maybe that is when they have, make not the right decision there. You're right that they use a lot of energy within those games, but we do have to remember that it's quite a long season that they're going through as well. Not a lot of bye rounds in there, not a lot of breaks, and then particularly when it's a shorter turnaround in between games, they really just don't have the time to be able to eat those foods that are not going to help with recovery and not help with performance, particularly on like a 5-day turnaround. So always want to make sure that the first meal post-match is still beneficial to recovery, and then maybe it's one after that where they do have something that is not as good for them.
So something good at the sheds that you can control.
Good in the sheds.
Just provide something healthy and
out of my sight after that. So
what you won't know, you don't know. Well, the coach, Frank Bellamy, he's pretty infamous for coming here at 5 a.m. and training hard? Is he the same dedication with his diet? Do you have to watch what the coaching staff eat, or are they just like, no, we're off limits, you don't need to worry about us?
They do like to ask questions a bit as well, yeah.
Good.
But Craig's probably a big support of my role, actually. So, yeah, he was one that, was a big sort of support in bringing me on full-time as well, which is fantastic. And he's involved in our meals program that goes to players as well as staff too. So he's fed the same things or offered the same things that they are. So, yeah, I've seen Craig training as well, and yeah, I think he still trains pretty hard as well. So, yeah.
Setting the standard.
Absolutely.
Such a fascinating job. I'd like to just finish with a bit of advice. I mean, you're looking after athletes of all ages here. For young kids out there wanting to, pursue a career in rugby league, what's your advice to them on, what they need to do diet-wise to ensure best performance? It's a huge question because there's probably a lot of things they can do.
Yeah, and I think it's important because, not all junior athletes get access to nutrition, but it's definitely something that's growing and they are very aware of as well. My biggest thing is to really look at food first. So I think supplements is massive. It's a massive industry, a pretty unsafe industry for a lot of players, particularly junior athletes, but even our more senior players. So if you can focus on your nutrition first, look at your 5 food groups, your dairy, your meat and alternatives, fruit and veggies and your grains, so your carbohydrate foods. Look at those, look at nailing those first before you even think about supplements, and you'll be doing the right things.
Okay. I need some of that advice too. Maybe you can write my
chat
meal plan.
after.
I think that's a good idea. Jordan, thanks for joining the fan.
Thanks so much for having me.